Dana K. White of aslobcomesclean.com and the author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life. So I've been putting out videos once a week, and my goal is that once a month I do question and answer, because I know that there are people in the world who see one video and go, huh, got it. But there are a lot of other people in the world, this is like me, who like, we need to go, what about this? And what about this? So that is what I'm doing here, okay? Is this allows me to answer all the what about this questions. Okay, so here we go. This was a great one. So here we have a picture before and after from when I decluttered a surface in the master bedroom of a lovely volunteer when we worked together and did that. Thank y'all for being so kind to those who are willing to, do stuff on the internet with their clutter. I appreciate that. But one thing that came up a couple different times was people saying, oh, you should have put a, or I would have put or whatever, a tray there to put the lotions in, to corral that on there. Here's what I'm gonna say about that. You are absolutely right. Okay, yes, trays are perfect for that, to contain that kind of stuff on a surface. However, okay, here's the reason we don't do that. These sessions that we're doing, I'm calling 1 hour better. We are just decluttering with my 5-step process that leaves absolutely no mess, okay, meaning we never leave ourselves in a worse situation than we were in before. We're making progress and only progress. So the whole point is to see what can we do in an hour of just decluttering. One of my number one things that I teach is that decluttering and organizing are not the same thing, okay? They're both great, they both have purpose, but when you think of them as all one thing, it is very overwhelming and can cause decluttering paralysis, meaning it can cause you to not be willing to get started, because this idea of organizing, which is problem solving, and I've got to have all this stuff, means that you don't go ahead and get started. Where when you give yourself permission to just declutter, not come up with organizing solutions, but literally just get the stuff out of there that shouldn't be there, then you achieve the purpose of organizing, meaning your space is more functional, it looks better. Just decluttering will produce the impact. It doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you can't improve it through organizing, but you have to declutter first, and giving yourself permission to just declutter is huge. So let me give you an example of this that actually you will see in an upcoming 1 hour better one, but I think it's a great example here. So I was helping one of you in your garage. Okay, so we were in the garage and there was the section of piled up random stuff, okay? Most of us have that, right? Okay, so section of piled up random stuff. Our goal was to work on it for an hour, see what all we could get done, with the goal of being done with anything we actually did, right? So using the no mess decluttering 5-step process that's in Decluttering at the Speed of Life. Anyway, so that was our goal. We got to this thing, this container that she was like, well, I actually need to totally get rid of that. And I was like, oh, okay, here you go. Here was this, and I can't remember what it was. I feel like it was some sort of crafty stuff. And I said, so, okay, where would you look for these first? Oh, well, I would look for them upstairs in this drawer that that's exactly where I would look for it. And I said, okay, well, let's take them there right now. And she said, oh, I can't right now because I'm going to do this organizing system that I heard about. And so I have to wait until I get the stuff to do that, okay? So my point is this idea of organizing, which means getting the right supplies, getting the right system down, was stopping her from decluttering. So if we weren't gonna move those markers or whatever it was to this drawer that she said was empty, ready for them, exactly where she would look for it first, if we weren't gonna go ahead and do that, well then they stayed in this container thing that she was ready to get rid of once they were gone, and they had a place to go, but this idea of, oh, but I have an organizing solution I'm gonna try, was stopping her from moving, okay? So that's an example of, yes, a tray would be perfect there. If there was already a tray there, we would just go ahead and use that. I mean, like, that would be great and that would be fantastic. But if we said, which this is the tendency, is to look at a space like that and go, you know what would really make a difference here? Because I know I've got a bunch of lotions and stuff like that. A tray would make a difference. Oh, but I want the perfect tray. Okay, I've got to remember to, I don't want to just order, okay, I'm gonna look next time I go to TJ Maxx or whatever. I'm gonna look for a tray. Oh man, I was by there the other day and I forgot about, okay, I gotta, and that kind of stuff stops the decluttering from happening because of this idea of, oh, I have the perfect idea of how to solve this problem, which is organizing, as opposed to just saying, for now, I'm getting stuff out of there, okay? So that was the difference between decluttering and organizing, and the reason why we go ahead. Yes, you'll see in the upcoming video soon. I was like, let's go ahead and move it up there, because you're no worse off to be up there, have everything in that space already, and then when you get the perfect system or whatever it was that she knew of that she wanted to use, when you get that system, then you'll just put the system in. But those things will already be up there instead of these 5 other steps down the line of, well, now I got to get out of this thing. Okay, now I've got to get that thing out of the house. Now I've got to get that thing, donate, whatever. Instead, to just go ahead and do the decluttering process. Even though it's not perfect, the space is so much better off, and things are in their final home, even though they're not perfect, that's where they go, okay? Can you get a system to make it better later? Absolutely, okay? I hope that makes sense. So that's the reason why we do this, is because for people like me, that idea of, oh, I heard of this really great idea of how to solve this problem and organize this space, but then never actually acting on that idea means that I just don't get started. Meanwhile, there's more in that space than could ever fit anyway, so I might as well go ahead and declutter it, and then I'm gonna live with it for a while and go, because it's like infinitely more usable because it only has the stuff in there that I actually need. And as I live with it, that's when I usually go, you know what would be perfect here? Do you know what the right size tray would be for this space? Do you know what? That's how I figure it out, is by living with only what needs to be in that space, which is never gonna happen if I wait until I get the solution that I'm not actually sure is a solution, blah, 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 blah. Okay, got it, okay. This made me laugh so much, and I have enjoyed the comments coming in because I have had a lot, so many people say, I have that exact same music box. And more than one person said, I think it's from Sears or Montgomery Ward. And I was like, that actually could be the case. And maybe I've just been imagining that it was from my parents' European trip when I was in preschool. And maybe it was actually from Montgomery Ward or Wards. I don't remember which one it was. Anyway, maybe it was from that. I've actually texted my mom to find out if she remembers. Reed put in here what her answer is. Okay. Anyway, that just made me laugh so much because it's such an example of so many times I think something is super sentimental, and then I find out it's actually like not as sentimental as I was thinking. Okay, not that it's, lots of people said, I have that, I got it as a child, and I love it so much and I'll never get rid of it. Lots of people said, oh my goodness, I had one like that. This reminded me of it. I got rid of it years ago, whatever. But 2 or 3 people, so way fewer numbers of people said, yeah, we got that in Switzerland or whatever. So either way it could go. But it just made me laugh. So it's definitely not like a one-of-a-kind item at all. And I think a lot of us who were kids in the 70s or 80s, whatever, probably have one of those. And a lot of them are watching this channel, and that's only a teeny tiny part of the world. So interesting. Oh, this is a good one. So about the music box, that brought up a question, which I think a lot of people, I've heard it asked in a lot of different situations, but I thought it was good to ask, specifically about something I was talking about. And that was, do you ever ask your kids if they want these items? What if they wanted them? Okay, so just to humor you guys, I texted my kids and I said, hey, does anybody want this? And this is their answers. Okay, so I am just saying, I did that to humor you all. I wasn't gonna do that otherwise. Not because I didn't think they might not ever like it. So there's a couple things here. First of all, I feel like there's gonna be enough for them to have to deal with when I'm gone eventually anyway. There's gonna be enough that when they do go to their own homes, they can go, hey mom, I loved that thing that was always on the fireplace, which that thing was not always. It was, it's been in a box for 2-3 years. There's enough for them to choose from. And so the stuff that I got rid of, I was pretty sure they were not going to have any kind of an attachment to. Partly because of just the stuff that it is, partly because my kids are pretty heartless, which I'm super proud of, because I saw them loosen their emotional attachment to stuff as I loosened my emotional attachment to stuff. My kids used to want to hold on to things when they were little. And then as I started getting rid of my stuff, our whole family just changed how we viewed stuff. It became the normal thing to get rid of stuff, okay? So I don't generally, unless it's something that they have specifically remarked on before or I've noticed. If I have asked them, the answer I can't think of an example where it's ever been yes. It's pretty much always been no, I don't want that. But here's that text that I sent, okay? If you are worried about that, take a picture and send a text, okay? I know maybe there's some people who still can't do that on their phones, but most of you can, okay? Take a picture and send a text to the people that you think might want it and say, hey, would you like this? But don't get offended when they say no. Don't be offended because you don't want it in your house. You're trying to get rid of it. Don't make it something where, oh, well, now I feel okay about getting rid of it because I know so-and-so is going to have it. Okay? Like, go back to that video about the Suburban and the hero complex that I was having about that and all that. I mean, don't burden other people with that. I know it's hard, but ask. Don't assume. Don't keep it in your house because you think, oh, they're going to want this someday. Ask them, but don't be offended at their answer if they say they don't want it, okay? And if they do want it, say, okay, I have a place on the top of my freezer outside, not outside, but in the garage, where it's stuff for my mom, like, hey mom, you know that when you come over here, go look on the top of the freezer and that's stuff for you. So like have a certain place that's out of wherever and say, okay, well then it's gonna be in this place, and if you don't get it the next time you come over, I'm gonna go ahead and donate it. Because it's not that important to them. This one I love, okay? Like this makes me happy for the person who asked it. I am so impressed with you, but I do think it's worth talking about. This person is wondering my thoughts. I think we were talking in the video about changing perspective and, like what were the clothes that I chose for 1 week of vacation, and that kind of gives me this idea of, oh, these are the clothes I really, really like. Because it's the container concept, because of a suitcase, yada, yada. Okay, wondering your thoughts on having too few clothes for the week. This person said that they had tried laundry day, which is my thing that I'm passionate about. Laundry day is so much more effective for me than trying to do one load a day, because that just didn't work for my brain and my personality. Anyway, but so this person is on their second laundry day and said, I needed to do laundry last Friday so I would have clothes again. Okay, so yay for you that you don't have too many clothes. That sounded sarcastic, and it wasn't. Like, I'm actually like super excited for you that clothing clutter is not your issue. Now, there's a possibility that I'm saying the words clothing clutter is not an issue, okay? Because I don't remember who this was. I'm not, okay? So if it's you, whatever, but I think everybody can learn from this. If I'm saying the words, yay for you that clothing clutter is not an issue, and your reaction is, oh, I've got tons of clothing clutter, then we have another issue here. And that is that you have a whole lot of clothes that you don't actually wear, okay? Which is something that could happen, okay? Is that you have been rewashing the same things and wearing just those things while you had other clothes. Use this as a great opportunity to get rid of those other clothes, okay? Because this is a sign that you had to wash again rather than wear the other clothes that you had, okay? I'm assuming that's not the case, but I do know it's the case for a lot of people watching. Okay, now, so what do you do in this situation? Well, I mean, obviously you could buy more clothes, but that's not what I'm here for, right? I'm here for decluttering, so that's what we're talking about. So let's talk about this and say it is perfectly fine if you have 2 laundry days, okay? If maybe you do laundry on Tuesday and Friday, okay, because you have a certain number of outfits. It's possible that maybe you have certain things that you do need a few more of just that because, you know, it's a uniform for school or work or whatever. But it's all about having a routine. It is not about how many clothes you have. It's about the routine that works for your unique situation, your unique home. So for you, maybe you do Tuesday and Friday. I talk to a lot of people who do that. If you have a septic system, you probably, okay, from what I understand, you do not need to be doing all of your laundry on one day because it can mess up, overflow the system. I don't understand because I don't have one, but you know, so a lot of people do have to break it up, but having a routine of 2 days a week when you do laundry is better than not having a routine at all, okay? Oh, here's a good question. So this was on the 2 decluttering questions, where I talk you through the only 2 decluttering questions that I use that you need that will help you make a final decision about every single thing in your home, okay? So the first question is, briefly so I can answer this question, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? And the second question is one that you only ask yourself if you can't answer the first one. If I needed this item, where would I look for it first? The second one is, if you can't answer that, you say, if I needed this item, would it ever occur to me that I already had one? Okay? And that is a reality check of, I did not even know that I had this. That's the reason I wouldn't go looking for it. So the question is, what if you're not sure where you would look for it first, but you'd know whether you already have some? Okay, I get this question quite a bit. Not like all the time, but I do get this question. And so through talking to people, what I've come to realize, this boils down to not trusting yourself, okay? So what you're saying is, what if I'm not sure, okay, that's the word used in this specific question. I'm not sure where I would look for it first, but I would know that I had it. I am not asking you, where are you sure this would be? I'm not asking you to analyze where you would look for it first. We are truly going with the instinct of, if I needed this item, where would I go first looking for it? Even if I had zero confidence that it was going to be there. But where's the first place where I would look? That's what we're doing here. We're going on that instinct. I hear from people all the time who are like, oh my goodness, I found whatever. I was looking for it and I actually found it in the first place where I looked for it because I answered and acted on that first decluttering question, where would I look for this first? So it is literally the instinct. This comes down to not trusting your instincts, which I completely understand. That was me too. When I started all this, I had no reason to trust my instincts. I had failed at my house being under control and getting my house under control so many times that I was not the person to ask where something should go. And that's why I don't ask where this should go. Instead, I ask, where would I look for this first in that frantic moment? If I was experiencing a frantic moment of, where is my kid's birth certificate? Where would I go first? Where's the first place where I would walk in this house? Even if I had no confidence it was going to be there, where's the first place where I would look? Okay. So if you can't answer the first question, and then the second question, you are confident, yes, I would know that I had it, then you have to be able to answer the first question. You would just have to. Like, we're not saying it's going to be there. We're saying, where's the first place where you would look? Okay? So throw the need for confidence out the window. But the more you do this, and the more you actually find things in the first place where you look for it, which makes you go, oh, this is working. Oh my goodness, I've tried all these years to get organized and put stuff in random places where I can never find them again. Instead, you're like, every time that you find something in the first place where you look for it, because you answered that first decluttering question and acted on it, it's gonna build that confidence and it will get easier and easier and easier, okay? Be watching, because Take Your House Back is going to open again very soon. I hopefully will put the dates in the description of this. And I hear all the time from people who love it. So make sure that you either go to takeyourhouseback.com or check the link in the description. I'll let you know when that's going to open up for new members again. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.